A great question I get asked a lot is, Civil, how do I get better at Madden? Or, Civil, I want to get into comp Madden. Or, Civil, I want to become a pro Madden player. In this video, we're going to be talking about all of those things. And they all kind of start initially from the same thing. And gradually you work your way up. And eventually you become, pretty good at the game. I've seen a lot of people make all of those steps, and myself included, from being very bad to maybe, winning not very many of my games to winning the majority. So, first and foremost, the very first thing you can do as a Madden player to get better at the game is to run some sort of scheme. Have some sort of set plays that you like to call and that you are going to call. Now, I don't care if you run the best plays in the world, if you run meta, if you run whatever YouTuber plays, or if you run your own little mini scheme. I remember when I first started taking Madden seriously, one of the things that I did, two of my mini schemes, two of my schemes that made me win way more of my games was Pistol Full House, which is terrible, and Pistol Strong, which is also bad. But I won way more games using those playbooks or those formations than I did running coach suggestions, just because I had an idea of what I was doing. And even though those plays were bad, I mastered those plays for however bad they were, right? That really is a big deal. Run some sort of scheme. Now, the next step of this would be to run a high-level scheme. Where do you find those at? What a lot of comp players run, especially comp YouTubers. What they run a lot of times is very, very good. Myself, K-Mac, Dubby, Skimbo, some examples of some fairly comp YouTubers who run very good schemes. Check out some ebooks. There are people who myself included, who have played at the pro level and put out these schemes that work at the pro level, and they're going to give you a way higher chance to succeed than you just running either your own scheme or, even worse, running just random plays, okay? Now, outside of schemes, what can you do? Well, a huge deal is, this is just a fact of the matter, you have to play the game a lot. I have seen people who are naturally gifted at Madden from in an extreme case, but that's not you. That's not me when it comes to the pro level. It's just not us, right? You got to play the game a lot. You got to learn the different functions of the games. A lot of little things make such a huge difference. A good example of that would be Madden 23. If you didn't know how to click on an ad catch and kind of swerve slants and posts down, you would get knocked out every single time. But if you learn that tiny little skill, now you're able to complete 80% more of your passes or something like that. It's insane. So getting repetitions is huge. Now, another thing I want to mention is even if you don't want to run the meta, which is whatever, that's fine, you need to identify what the meta is and learn how to beat it. You need to learn how to score on the meta, and you need to learn how to stop the meta, all right? Because the meta is what you're mostly going to see online. It's a fact of the matter, especially when you start playing better players. It's unfortunate, but a lot of regs, a lot of online head-to-head regs is just really low competition. And it makes sense really fast to explain why regs is typically worse than MUT, is because regs are just dudes who are booting up and just playing, for the majority of them, right? Not everybody, not you, right? Not you, but the majority. Whereas MUT, if you play MUT and you go into an online head-to-head game of MUT, you are way more invested than a regs guy, because you probably spent money on your team, or you spent a lot of hours building your team, so you want to win with them, so you're going to try to get a little bit better at the gameplay part of things too. That's just why, by the way. But when you start playing the meta a little bit, you need to learn how to stop it, because you're mostly gonna play it, right? That's what you're gonna do. So even if you're not good against 5 wide, if you're not good against spread, you're not good against I form tight, but you could stop gun bunch, gun trips, and gun tight because you just lab those defenses, you just learn how to stop them, and you could score on spinner and DB fire, then you're going to win a lot of your games. You will. You'll just naturally start winning more and more of your games. Learn how to beat the meta. I'm so big on that constantly. I say it all the time. Identify the meta, learn how to beat the meta. All of my schemes, besides the very day one schemes, because there's just no meta out yet, are designed at how do we dog the meta. That's what you got to do, right? Now, the next thing to start getting even better at the game, I am a huge believer in this, is that you need to have a few people that you play with and you just play rep games or scrimmage games with, okay? You can do everything by yourself. I've been in that situation before, and I have been able to be good at the game and succeed in that situation, but it's just really hard. That's just a fact of the matter. It's just really, really hard to do it by yourself. And, now you have two people sharing your information back and forth of what do you know about Madden, what do I know about Madden, how do you handle this, how do you handle this, how do you defend gun tight, how to whatever, going back and forth. And now you guys are just kind of building on top of each other, making each other both better. And you can kind of rep situations. You can just get more repetitions against someone, similar caliber as you. It helps so much. One of the biggest jumps I made was surrounding myself with good Madden players. It helps you so freaking much. And a question I get a lot is, how do you find good Madden players? Discords, our Civil GG members. I just saw my mic turned off. Whoops. Our Civil GG members Discord is freaking awesome. And we have a lot of people who start playing with each other from there. Twitch chats is a fine place. Twitter sometimes. And just message people that you play online head-to-head that you have a good game with. I've met good friends from doing that even. And, there's a great opportunity right there. Now, the next thing that I really think helps so much when you're trying to get into, upper levels of comp is playing in high-pressure situations. And typically what that is going to be is it's going to be playing in tournaments of some sort. Now, there is a ton of free tournaments that go on very often throughout the year. And there's also CFMs that people play in. There's also just playing, making it to the Super Bowl of your MUT head-to-head team or MUT head-to-head season, right? That's a fairly high-pressure thing. And as you get more and more comfortable in those highest pressure situations, you'll just become better at handling them. And if you're trying to get better at the game, that's just what it is, right? Now, I'm a huge believer, again, and a lot of this does go back to scheme. And it goes back to then, on top of your scheme, in the individual game, the way I see a lot of people lose games, the way I see a lot of people take the next big jump is limiting this, is that they are able to stop wasting plays on offense and defense. I found myself, I used to have a huge habit where the first drive of every game, it'd be funny, but it was awful. I lost a lot of games because of it. First drive of every game, I'd throw a pick. And it's like, well, I mean, and it's funny. It's like, haha, there it is. And it's the first drive, whatever. Well, you just gave him another possession. What are you doing? You can't do that, right? You can't do that. You can't, on 1st to 10, let's say you call a play you never call, and you don't even know why you're calling it, and you take a sack to 2nd and 17. 2nd and 17, you can get a 10-yard gain, which is a great play. A 10-yard gain's awesome. But now it's 3rd and 7. Then you get bagged on 3rd and 7. Now you're facing a 4th down already. And you face, if you do that twice in a game, probably get stopped on one of the 4th downs. You might get cheated. You might get bagged. You might make a bad read. All those things happen, right? You got to take every play seriously. That goes for defense, too. You can't mess up your adjustments randomly. You can't let your user be lacking one time. Let's say you get your opponent into a 3rd and 1. He runs a basic flood concept with a deep corner route. You know that's your user responsibility, and you don't user it. Well, instead now of keeping them or getting to a 4th and 1 where you can actually get a stop, you just let up a 25-yard corner route deep down the sideline because you took a play off. You can't do that, and that's a huge deal. You gotta be locked in. You have to be, and the better you get, you can it's no different than playing sports, right? If you're a great basketball player, you don't have to be locked in if you're playing someone who's worse than you. But if you're playing someone who's the same skill level as you or close to the same skill level as you, you have to be locked in pretty much every play, or else at any point they could take a huge momentum leap in the game and you won't be able to recover from it, right? It goes neck and neck, and now you lose by 7 in a game that really probably should win to overtime due to if you compare skill levels, but you decide to take a play off, right? It's a huge deal. All those things are a big deal, right? I love seeing you guys get better at Madden. I love hearing comments and reading comments from you guys talking about how whatever you've been able to make whatever jumps in Madden in comp, or whether it's comp, head-to-head, weekend league, or MUT champions, regs, CFMs, whatever it is. I love reading those comments. So yeah, hopefully this video kind of gives you guys a little bit of context for how to get better, from not just show you guys schemes, but actually just talking about the kind of concepts that go into it. And if you do want some high-level schemes and some high-level tips and a great Discord community and just everything you need to actually get better at Madden, and you want to take some of the legwork, and you want me to take some of the legwork out of it for you, Civil.gg. All right, we're hosting a pre-sale right now over there. Hundreds of dollars of content for just $85. Use code pre-sale at checkout. Link is in the top of the description, boys.